Welcome back to another episode of Sim Cinema Cinema Society Saturday. Ugh. Whew. And I am Gus from Askewed Reviews. So if you don't know what Cinema Society Saturday is, let me tell you. This is where a group of us horror content creators excuse me have all come together, and then each week we are randomly given a theme. We then partner up and give our partner a movie that fits within the theme, and then we review that film for you. Uh, and if you haven't guessed by now, the theme for this week is sickness, virus, disease, or plague. And my partner for this week is D. Comp Fawn, also known as Jade Renee. And if you're not already following her, definitely go and do so. She's really great at doing some fun reviews, so check her out and let's see if we can get her up to 7,000 followers. And the movie my partner gave me for this week was The Night Eats the World. This is a 2018 film directed and co-written by Dominique Rocher. So if you haven't heard of this one before, let me tell you a little bit about the plot. So the movie starts off with us meeting our main character of Sam. Now, Sam has an ex, I assume girlfriend. I don't know if they were married, but I think it's just that they were dating. But either way, his ex is hosting a party, and Sam has to show up to this party because it's the only opportunity he can talk to her and potentially get a box of tapes back from her. Now, Sam is not at all interested in what's happening at this get together because it's being hosted by his ex and her new boyfriend, who is not the biggest fan of Sam. Now, his ex is trying to convince him to just hang around and have a good time, but he really just wants to get his stuff and get out. But she, of course, is dragging it on. So he has a few drinks, hangs out for a bit, but is just really getting tired of this. So he finally gets a hold of her, and she says that he can go into her office and look for the box, but that she's still busy at the moment. Now, he does manage to wind his way through all the other party guests and eventually get back to the office. Once he's in there, he decides to lock the door, mainly just due to the fact that he just wants some peace and quiet and to be left alone for a little bit while he looks for this box. He eventually does find it, but while he's in the room, he sits down in the chair, and whether or not it's due to alcohol or just the anxiety of being around all these people, he does manage to just pass out in the chair. Now, him locking that door may have been the worst or best decision, depending on your opinion of what happens next here. You see, when Sam wakes up the next day, he goes out into the apartment and there is just blood everywhere and no sign of anybody. But once he opens the door to that apartment, he begins to realize very quickly that overnight, everyone else has become a zombie. The rest of the film is Sam coming to terms with potentially being alone and how he's going to end up surviving in the city of Paris without anyone else to help him out. So I really enjoyed this movie, mainly due to the fact that I love how Sam just hits the ground running. As soon as he realizes, oh my god, zombies are real, he gets to work. He starts collecting supplies, he blocks the building so other ones can't come in, he starts clearing out different rooms of this apartment complex. It's just, I love how pragmatic he's being, and you don't always see that in a lot of zombie movies. I also enjoy the fact that Sam feels like a real person, like not just a character, but he does such a good job on making little quirks and little things about him that just bring the character to life. Here's something I also found fascinating. There are two films that came out in 2020, one that's Korean and one that was American. The first one is called Hashtag Alive, the other is called Alone. These are very similar plots to this movie, which came out a few years before that, but supposedly it was not an inspiration for either one of them. So, at least for me on my scale, I'm going to give this film a 4 out of 5. And if you'd like to check it out for yourselves, it is currently streaming for free on Tubi. Also, I'm not the biggest fan of like foreign films where you have to read all the subtitles or that it's, dubbed. But I will say this, I don't think this movie was dubbed, but it is completely in English. So once more, I am going to mention you should already be following Jade if you're not already doing so. She doesn't just do movie reviews, she also does book reviews. And for another reason to go check out her content is to see the movie that I gave her to review. And that is the 2016 film Viral. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Cinema Society Saturday. The one thing I found really funny and odd though is yesterday I was actually dealing with like a bit of a 24-hour flu or bug or something. So, really odd timing with this being the theme for this weekend. Now, just in case you've caught in the bug and wanted to see what everyone else in the group did for their reviews, all you have to do is look up the hashtag Cinema Society Saturday.